What is going on, you guys? White Fox 1225 here, and today I want to talk about a leak that happened this week and the possibility of getting a new Game of Thrones RPG made by Bethesda. I would have covered this a lot sooner, but I was away on work this week. But Game of Thrones and Bethesda role-playing games are maybe my two favorite things on this earth, so it's safe to say I am pretty hyped about this news. But let's start this video off by talking about the leak itself. So the leak originated on the Target website, where they made a new section called Bethesda Game of Thrones. There were no details on the page, and it looked like it was probably a placeholder for a future game listing, but it's actually not uncommon for games to leak this way. I can remember a good amount of titles that were put on Amazon or some other online website like Target and then taken down not too long afterwards. And the ones that have leaked on Target usually tend to be pretty accurate. Now, a lot of people are saying this leak was fake or the game isn't happening, and I want to address that real quick because I really think they're completely wrong. Target did take down the listing and said it was not a real product and it was just a mistake, but I have a really hard time imagining that this was just some random mistake that isn't based on anything at all. I mean, how would that even come to be on their website? Also, if you were Target and you just ruined the reveal of a multi-million-dollar game, what would you say? Probably the same thing to try and cover it up and save yourself. But Bethesda has not made a comment so far, and if the game was in development, I feel like they would tweet out something like, hey, this game isn't happening. But they haven't released a statement and they haven't said anything, which makes me think this is a real game that's actually in development. Another thing that gives credit to this leak is the fact that Bethesda confirmed they were given the offer to make a Game of Thrones RPG a few years ago, but turned it down because they wanted to develop Skyrim instead, which is completely understandable. They said they wanted to work on their own brand and their own world. But at the time, Todd Howard did say they were extremely excited about making the game and that everyone in the studio really wanted to do it. They also said George R.R. Martin's people really wanted Bethesda to make the game, so it's entirely possible that it just got delayed a few years and the development of the game is going on right now. It would also make sense for Bethesda because they have said they have two unknown projects that they're working on that will be big AAA RPGs. They also have said that those games will come before the next Elder Scrolls game, and from the sound of it, the next test game might not even be in development, which is really weird because Skyrim did so well, so you have to kind of think, why would that be? But if you were Bethesda, you really wouldn't want to release an Elder Scrolls game and a Game of Thrones RPG back to back, just because the games are both fantasy RPGs and somewhat similar to each other. So that might give a little bit more evidence that the leak is real and why the next Elder Scrolls game is so far out. Personally, I'd be really surprised if Bethesda isn't working on some sort of Game of Thrones RPG. Just because of all the reasons I've listed, it just seems to really line up and make sense now that we've seen it in context. In terms of when we might actually see this game announced, I would say sometime in the next year or two. The fact that it's even on Target's website by accident means it must be pretty well in development, maybe even nearing completion. And I would think Bethesda would want to have something come out before the TV show ends, or maybe even line up with the 8th season. This could be sometime in 2018 or 2019. No matter when it is announced, we know Todd Howard is a big fan of announcing games only a few months before they actually come out, so we won't have to wait long whenever we hear some news about it. Like I said, guys, this game would be a dream come true for me personally, and I'll definitely be covering it on the channel. You can expect some sort of wishlist video or speculation video coming maybe later this week or next week. And once the game is announced, it definitely will be the focus of the channel, along with the Elder Scrolls Online, of course. So if you want to see that content in the future, make sure to hit the subscribe button. If you did like the video, make sure to give it a like. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.